As the sun set on the peaceful valley, Aurora perched upon the tallest tree. She gazed out over the land, knowing that her journey was far from over. There would always be new challenges, new obstacles, but she was no longer afraid. With the flame of hope within her, she would face whatever came next. The valley was safe, and the rainbow butterfly had found her true purpose. And as the first stars twinkled in the sky, Aurora whispered to the wind, "As long as we believe, hope will never fade." When Aurora returned to the heart of the valley, the creatures were waiting for her. Elder Willow flew to her side, his eyes glowing with pride. "You have done it, Aurora. The Shadow King is no more, and the valley is safe." Aurora smiled, feeling the warmth of the flame of hope still burning gently within her. She had faced the greatest darkness, and she had emerged victorious. The creatures cheered, and the valley seemed to sparkle with even more life than before. The trees were greener, the flowers brighter, and the sky clearer. The flame of hope had not only saved the valley, it had transformed it, filling the land with new light and new life. Aurora fluttered high into the air, her wings shining with the rainbow colors of hope. She was no longer just a butterfly. She was the guardian of colors, the protector of hope, light, and dreams. And with the Shadow King gone, the valley could now live in peace. Aurora's wings beat faster as she soared out of the cavern of forgotten dreams, the flame of hope pulsing brightly within her. She felt stronger than ever before, her heart full of determination. But even as the flame burned within her, the air grew thick with an overwhelming darkness. The Shadow King was coming. Aurora flew as fast as she could, the distant valley still far in the horizon. But she knew the darkness was already spreading. It was too late to wait for help. The sky above her twisted and churned, turning from brilliant blue to inky black. Storm clouds formed, crackling with dark energy. The wind howled like a beast, threatening to tear at her wings. But Aurora pressed on. She could feel the Shadow King's presence now, pulling at the very air, reaching toward her. The valley was in danger. She could not let him destroy it again. Just as she neared the glowing fields, the darkness descended. Shadows twisted around her, trying to pull her into their cold embrace. She felt herself slowing, her wings growing heavy under the weight of the shadow's curse. But the flame of hope flared within her chest, pushing back against the darkness. She could hear the Shadow King's voice, cold and mocking. "You think you can defeat me again, little butterfly?" The ground beneath her began to crack, and the sky erupted with flashes of lightning. Aurora clenched her wings. "You won't win, Shadow King," she shouted. "You may have darkness, but I have hope." She felt the light of the flame within her brighten, and it flowed outward in brilliant streaks. The rainbow light cut through the shadows, illuminating the sky and forcing the storm to recede. The Shadow King roared in fury, but his form began to flicker as if his power was waning. But the fight wasn't over yet. The Shadow King, now only a swirling mass of dark energy, surged toward her. His voice rumbled with rage. "You cannot defeat me with your foolish hope. I am darkness, and I will consume all." The darkness swarmed toward Aurora, threatening to swallow her whole. But she closed her eyes, trusting the power of the flame of hope to guide her. And then, with a mighty burst of strength, she unleashed the full power of the flame. A wave of golden light erupted from her, shining brighter than the sun. The shadows shrieked and twisted as they were torn apart by the brilliance of the light. The very air seemed to vibrate with the force of the energy. For a moment, everything was still. The light faded, and the sky above the valley cleared. Aurora hovered, exhausted, but victorious. She had done it. The Shadow King was gone, his dark power extinguished by the flame of hope. After a long journey, Aurora finally reached the Silver Mountains. Hidden beneath their rocky peaks was the Cavern of Forgotten Dreams, the resting place of the flame of hope. The entrance to the cavern was covered in thick vines. As Aurora approached, the vines moved on their own, parting to let her through. Inside, the cave was filled with floating lights, glimpses of dreams that had been lost. She saw images of forgotten lands, long-lost friends, and people who had given up on their hopes. The deeper she went, the heavier her wings felt. A voice echoed through the cave. Only those who carry true hope may enter. Aurora hesitated. Did she truly believe she could defeat the Shadow King? She thought of the valley, of all the creatures who depended on her. She thought of the colors, the laughter, the beauty of the world she loved. And in that moment, she knew, as long as she was willing to fight, hope would never fade. Her wings glowed brightly, and the cave walls trembled. A hidden door appeared before her, opening to reveal a small pedestal. Resting upon it was a single flame, burning with golden light, the flame of hope. Aurora reached out. As soon as her wings touched the fire, it flowed into her, filling her with warmth and strength. Her rainbow wings now shimmered with golden light. She had done it. But before she could celebrate, the cave shook violently. The Shadow King knew what she had found. She had to return to the valley before it was too late. Aurora flew over the valley, heading toward the distant Silver Mountains, where the cavern of forgotten dreams was hidden. But before she could reach the mountains, she had to cross the River of Illusions. As soon as she reached the riverbank, the air shimmered strangely. The water was not normal. Instead of reflecting the sky, it reflected things that were not there. Aurora took a cautious step forward. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Aurora, come back," she gasped. It was the voice of her mother. Aurora spun around, her heart pounding. She had never known her parents. She had been born alone in the valley. Yet standing at the edge of the water, she saw the figure of a beautiful butterfly with shimmering wings, just like hers. "Mother," Aurora whispered, stepping closer. The butterfly smiled. "Yes, my child, come to me." Aurora hesitated. Something felt wrong. She looked down at the water and gasped. There was no reflection of the butterfly. Realization struck her like lightning. It was an illusion. She stepped back. "You're not real," she said firmly. The false butterfly's face twisted into a shadowy form, hissing. The illusion shattered like glass, and the river went silent once more. Aurora's heart raced. If she had given in to the illusion, she might have been trapped there forever. Taking a deep breath, she spread her wings and flew over the river, refusing to look back. She had won this test, but greater dangers lay ahead. Aurora sat beneath the golden tree with Elder Willow, her mind racing. "The flame of hope?" she asked. "What is it?" Elder Willow's golden eyes gleamed with wisdom. "It is an ancient fire, older than the valley itself. It is said to burn not with heat, but with the strength of the heart. Unlike ordinary flames, it cannot be extinguished by darkness, for it does not fight with power, it fights with belief." Aurora's wings fluttered. "Where can I find it?" The wise owl sighed. "That is the challenge, Aurora. The flame of hope is hidden in the cavern of forgotten dreams, a place only the pure of heart can enter. But beware, the journey is treacherous, and no one who has searched for it has ever returned." Aurora felt a shiver run down her wings, but when she thought of the darkness growing in the forbidden hollow, she knew she had no choice. "I will find it," she said firmly. Elder Willow nodded. "Then you must leave at once. Time is running out." By the time Aurora returned to the heart of the valley, the skies had grown darker. A strange cold wind blew through the trees. She found Elder Willow, his eyes filled with concern. "I feared this would happen," he said gravely. "The Shadow King left behind a fragment of his power. If we do nothing, it will consume the valley once more." Aurora's mind raced. The crystal of eternal light had saved the valley once, but would it be strong enough to fight this new threat? Elder Willow nodded as if reading her thoughts. "The crystal is powerful, but it cannot destroy darkness completely. There must be another way." "But how?" Aurora asked. "How do we stop a shadow that refuses to fade?" Elder Willow looked toward the sky. "We will need more than just light. We will need something even stronger." Aurora's wings fluttered anxiously. "Stronger than light?" The old owl's golden eyes glowed softly. Yes, we need the flame of hope. Aurora had never heard of it before, but if it was their only chance to stop the Shadow King's return, she would find it, no matter what dangers lay ahead. The journey was long. Aurora flew over the glowing fields, where flowers shimmered like tiny stars. But as she drew closer to the Forbidden Hollow, the land began to change. The sky darkened. The trees grew twisted, their branches clawing at the sky. The ground felt cold and lifeless, and Aurora realized something terrible. There were no colors here. It was as if the Shadow King's presence had drained the land of its beauty. She landed carefully, her wings glowing softly in the dim light. The whispering returned, louder than before. You should not have come. Aurora turned sharply. Shadows slithered across the ground, taking shape before her. They had no eyes, no faces, only darkness. And then she heard his voice. You thought you defeated me, the Shadow King's voice rumbled, echoing through the hollow. But darkness cannot be destroyed so easily. Aurora's wings trembled. You were defeated. The crystal of eternal light erased you. The shadows twisted and swirled. A piece of me always remains, the voice whispered. You may have saved the valley once, but what will you do when the light is no longer enough? Suddenly the shadows lunged at her. Aurora flapped her wings hard, releasing a burst of rainbow light. The shadows shrieked and recoiled, but they did not disappear. For the first time, Aurora felt afraid. The Shadow King's magic was still growing. She had to warn the valley. With one final blast of light, she pushed back the darkness and sped away, her heart racing. The next morning, Aurora sought out Elder Willow in his golden tree. The wise old owl listened carefully as she told him about the strange whispers. When she finished, Elder Willow's feathers ruffled with worry. You are right to be concerned, Aurora, he said. The Shadow King may be gone, but his darkness leaves scars. There is a place in the valley where his magic still lingers. The Forbidden Hollow. Aurora's wings fluttered anxiously. The Forbidden Hollow? I've never heard of it. Few have, Elder Willow said. It lies deep beyond the glowing fields, hidden beneath the roots of the valley. Long ago, a battle between light and darkness took place there, and the land has never been the same since. Aurora's heart pounded. If the whispers were coming from the Forbidden Hollow, then the Shadow King's darkness might still be alive. I must go there, she said. Elder Willow's eyes darkened. It is dangerous. If you go, you may find more than just whispers. Aurora took a deep breath. She had faced the Shadow King once before, and if he had left a part of himself behind, she had to stop it before it could grow stronger. She spread her rainbow wings and soared toward the Forbidden Hollow. Aurora couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that something was wrong. Though the Valley of Colors had been restored, the night air felt colder, and the wind carried strange whispers. One evening, as she fluttered over the shimmering lake, she saw something that made her heart race. The water reflected a dark shape behind her. She spun around. Nothing was there, but the whispering grew louder. The darkness never fades. It only waits. Aurora shivered. She knew that the Shadow King's power had been destroyed, but Elder Willow once told her that darkness cannot be truly erased. It only hides. She had to find out where it was hiding before it was too late. Days passed, and the valley thrived under Aurora's watchful care. But deep in the hidden corners of the land, something dark and cold stirred. The Shadow King was not truly gone. Though Aurora had destroyed his form, a tiny fragment of his darkness had survived. It slithered through the roots of the valley, waiting, watching, growing stronger. One night, as Aurora rested on a flower petal beneath the moonlight, a chill ran through the air. The wind whispered strange, eerie words. The darkness never fades. It only waits. Aurora's eyes snapped open. Her rainbow wings tingled with unease. She had thought the battle was over, but something told her this was only the beginning. She looked toward the sky, where the stars twinkled brightly. No matter what came next, she would always fight for the light, because she was Aurora, the magical rainbow butterfly, the guardian of colors. The golden deer, the singing sparrows, and even the glowing fireflies all bowed to her in gratitude. "You are our hero, Aurora," they cheered. Aurora blushed. She had never thought of herself as a hero. She had only done what her heart told her was right. Suddenly, a soft humming filled the air. The crystal of eternal light, which Aurora had placed in the center of the valley, began to float, sending rainbow waves of magic across the land. Elder Willow smiled. "The crystal has accepted you as its guardian. From this day forward, you will be the protector of the valley." Aurora's heart swelled with happiness. She finally understood her true purpose, not just to bring back the light, but to protect it forever. Aurora carried the crystal back to the valley. As she placed it in the heart of the land, a miracle happened. Golden light burst from the crystal, spreading across the valley. The trees regained their shimmer, the flowers bloomed in brilliant colors, and the sky turned a dazzling blue. The river sparkled once more, and the air was filled with joy. The darkness was gone. The creatures of the valley cheered. Elder Willow smiled proudly. "You have fulfilled the prophecy, Aurora." Finally, Aurora reached her destination, the Cave of Whispers, hidden deep in the heart of the valley. The entrance was dark, and an eerie voice whispered from within. She hesitated, then took a deep breath and stepped inside. The cave walls shimmered with faint blue light, and the air was filled with hushed voices, like forgotten secrets. At the very end of the cave, resting on a stone pedestal, was the crystal of eternal light. It pulsed with a soft, golden glow. Aurora's heart leaped with hope. She flew toward it, but just as she reached out, a dark shadow rose from the ground. "You dare to take what is mine?" A deep, menacing voice growled. Aurora gasped. The Shadow King. He loomed before her, his form shifting like black smoke. His eyes were like burning coals, filled with endless darkness. "You cannot defeat me, little butterfly," he sneered. "The light will fade and darkness will rule forever." Aurora trembled, but she refused to back down. "You are wrong," she said. "As long as there is hope, the light will never fade." The Shadow King laughed. "Then let's see if you can prove it." He unleashed a wave of darkness, trying to engulf her. Aurora flapped her wings, creating a shield of rainbow light. The two forces clashed, filling the cave with bursts of energy. Aurora knew this was her final test. If she failed, all would be lost. She closed her eyes and focused on her heart. She thought of her home, the golden trees, the sparkling river, and all the creatures waiting for her. She thought of love, hope, and the beauty of light. Her wings glowed brighter than ever before, and with one final, powerful flap, a blinding explosion of rainbow light filled the cave. The Shadow King screamed as the light consumed him. His darkness crumbled into nothingness. Aurora collapsed, exhausted, but when she opened her eyes, the cave was filled with golden light. The crystal of eternal light shone brighter than ever. She had won. After leaving the stormy cliffs behind, Aurora entered a strange, misty forest. The trees were tall and twisted, their branches reaching out like ghostly fingers. A heavy silence filled the air, but every now and then, eerie whispers drifted through the mist. "This must be the forest of lost echoes," Aurora murmured. As she flew deeper into the forest, the whispers grew louder. They seemed to be calling her name. "Aurora! Aurora!" She shivered. "Who's there?" Suddenly, shadowy figures appeared between the trees. They looked like lost souls, their glowing eyes filled with sadness. "Turn back," one of them whispered. "The Shadow King is too powerful. You will fail." Aurora's heart pounded. Were they telling the truth? Doubt began to creep into her mind. Then she remembered Elder Willow's words. "You are the one destined to bring back the light." "No," she said firmly. "I will not turn back. My valley needs me." She flapped her wings, and a wave of rainbow light spread across the forest. The shadows shrieked and disappeared, and the whispers faded. The path ahead cleared, and Aurora knew she had passed another test. Aurora soared high above the valley, her rainbow wings glowing faintly in the dimming light. She could feel the weight of her mission pressing upon her. Ahead lay the stormy cliffs, a towering mountain range where fierce winds howled like hungry wolves. As she approached, the sky darkened and the winds grew stronger. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and flashes of lightning split the sky. Aurora hesitated. Could she make it through? Suddenly, a deep voice echoed through the air. "Who dares enter the stormy cliffs?" Aurora gasped as a massive thunder eagle appeared before her. His feathers crackled with electricity, and his golden eyes glowed like the sun. "I am Aurora, the magical rainbow butterfly," she said bravely. "I must cross the cliffs to find the crystal of eternal light and save my home." The thunder eagle studied her for a moment, then let out a booming laugh. "Many have tried to pass, but none have succeeded. If you wish to cross, you must prove your strength." Aurora's wings trembled, but she stood tall. "How do I prove myself?" The eagle spread his mighty wings. "You must fly through the eye of the storm, where the winds are strongest. If you can do that, you may pass." Aurora took a deep breath. She had no choice. She had to try. As she flew forward, the storm grew fiercer. The wind pushed against her, trying to knock her down. Lightning flashed all around, and the roar of thunder shook the sky. Aurora felt herself being thrown back, but she refused to give up. She closed her eyes and focused on her inner light. Her wings shimmered, and suddenly a burst of rainbow energy surrounded her. With a final, powerful flap, she broke through the storm and emerged on the other side. The Thunder Eagle watched in amazement. "You are truly special, little one. Go forth, and may the light guide you." Aurora nodded gratefully and continued on her journey. Determined to save her home, Aurora set off on a dangerous journey. Elder Willow told her that the only way to defeat the Shadow King was to find the crystal of eternal light, a powerful gem hidden deep within the Cave of Whispers. But the journey would not be easy. She had to cross the stormy cliffs, travel through the forest of lost echoes, and finally face the Shadow King himself. As Aurora flew over the valley, she could already feel the air getting colder. The sun was fading, and shadows stretched across the land. But she knew she couldn't turn back now. She was the valley's only hope. Aurora woke up to a strange sight. The colors of the valley were fading. The once bright flowers looked dull. The trees no longer shimmered, and the sky was turning gray. Even the river, which used to sparkle like diamonds, now looked dark and still. Aurora fluttered her wings in panic. "What's happening?" she whispered. Just then, Elder Willow, the wise old owl, landed beside her. His golden eyes were filled with worry. "Aurora," he said in a grave voice, "the prophecy is coming true. A terrible force called the Shadow King is stealing the colors from our valley. If we do nothing, our home will become a land of darkness forever." Aurora gasped. "But what can I do?" Elder Willow gently placed his wing on her. "You are the magical rainbow butterfly, the one destined to bring back the light. Only you can stop the Shadow King." Aurora's heart pounded. She had never fought a dark force before, but deep inside, she felt a tiny spark of courage. Long ago, an ancient prophecy was written in the Book of Eternal Light. "When darkness falls and shadows rise, a butterfly of rainbow skies shall bring the light, the hope, the way, and chase the endless night away." The elders of the valley believed that one day, a great darkness would cover their home, stealing its magic and turning the land into a cold, lifeless place. Only the magical rainbow butterfly could stop it. But Aurora didn't know about the prophecy. She lived happily among the flowers, playing with fireflies and drinking nectar from golden lilies. Until one day, everything changed. In a faraway land, hidden between the tallest mountains and the deepest rivers, there was a secret valley known as the Valley of Colors. It was a place where magic flowed like the wind, and every creature lived in harmony. Flowers never wilted, trees shimmered with golden leaves, and the sky painted itself in endless shades of pink and blue. Deep inside this valley, in the heart of an enchanted forest, lived a very special butterfly, Aurora, the magical rainbow butterfly. Unlike any other butterfly, Aurora's wings glowed with all the colors of the rainbow. Whenever she fluttered her wings, tiny sparkles of magic spread through the air, bringing joy and wonder to all who saw her. But Aurora was not just any butterfly. She had a secret. A great destiny awaited her, one that would change the fate of the valley forever.